All right, welcome. This is DB talking now, DB talking birds, DB talking Philadelphia Eagles. So we have some coaching search updates. The Eagles did go ahead and release a report, or there was a report released today that the Eagles are interested in speaking to Eric Bieniemy, and it was just a matter of time. We were just waiting for that report to come out. Also, what was released today in a report was that the Eagles are also interested in speaking to Patriots offense coordinator Josh McDaniels. Now, as far as that one is concerned, I'm not as excited about that one. I mean, we've seen Josh McDaniels be a head coach in this league before to not much success, so I'm not as excited about that one. However, I am excited about the Eric Bieniemy report. I personally believe that is who they are holding out for. So while we're watching all these guys get signed, like the Arthur Smiths of the world, you know, and the Robert Salah and Robert Salah as well. I think that the Eagles are actually holding out for Eric Bieniemy. It's just that we have to wait for the Chiefs to play, which they do play. They do host the Browns tomorrow in their playoff game in Kansas City. So I guess in that regard, I mean, obviously, I want to see Andy Reid get another Super Bowl, but as far as the coaching search is concerned, I do want this to be over as soon as possible. So I am hoping for them to lose in regards to us just getting this coaching search done and over with, because I honestly believe that it is going to be Eric Bieniemy at the end of the day. Now, other breaking news that kind of released earlier this morning, there were tons of reports about it, is just more bad reports about Carson Wentz, detailed reports about Carson Wentz, on how Carson would just kill plays at the line of scrimmage that Doug would call just for the sake of killing, just for the sake of disagreeing with Doug Peterson. Look, it may be true, it may not be true. Here's the thing. Here's my take about this. We don't know if that's true. But here's how I'm going to address this. It just painted a picture of a low character guy. That's what these reports painted Wentz as, is a low character guy. And if there's one thing that we know about Jeffrey Lurie, he's always been great at finding high character guys. So I believe that that report about Wentz is just a bunch of malarkey. Bunch of hogwash. And I'll tell you why, because I don't think that they would have ever given Wentz a 4-year, $128 million contract if they got any sense of him doing things of that nature. So I don't really see that being the case. And I don't really find that there's much validity to those reports. Now, my thing is, and I agree with Ruben Frank about this. Ruben Frank spoke about this on his podcast. Let's put Wentz with a new head coach and see how he does. You know what I mean? Because it could straight up be possible that Doug Peterson just wasn't calling good plays, guys. He just wasn't calling good plays, and Carson Wentz just had enough of it. And clearly we saw plenty of that throughout Doug Peterson's tenure here as the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, where he was just calling plays and we were just like, what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing, Doug? Now, granted, it is a little bit bitter and is a little bit low character if for Carson Wentz to do that, but is it really true? Did that really happen? And honestly, who's leaking these reports? Once again, it seems like a ghost in the wind, a rogue character, a rogue player leaking these reports. And that's kind of what the report would say, is that Carson Wentz would kind of go rogue and throughout the games and kind of just disagree with whatever whatever Doug Peterson wanted to do, whatever Doug Peterson would call, and ended up disagreeing with whatever he wanted to, and so therefore it would just leave them in a state of unpredictability, pretty much. So, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. I go back to that piece of it. Pretty much is that Jeffrey Lurie wouldn't have given Carson Wentz a 4-year, $128 million contract if Carson Wentz was probably pulling that stuff. So, so with that said, I don't really believe that there's much validity to that report. It just seems like there's just a bunch of people trying to make up some stuff about Carson Wentz to try and get the first word out, or try and make up for their lack of reporting. People like Elliot Shore-Parks, who works for ESPN, and people of that nature. So, but I am excited. I am excited about the report that we are interested in interviewing Eric Bieniemy. I think that if we get the chance to, and if we don't have to wait too long, that he will be the guy. I also believe that the Eagles will hold out. Say the Chiefs do go on and go to the Super Bowl. I believe that the Eagles will hold out until that point, just so that they can interview Eric Bieniemy, to do their due diligence on who this head coach would be. I think they're going to drag it out that far. Obviously, we've heard the likes of offensive coordinator Kellen Moore. We've heard the likes of offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels. We've heard the likes of Joe Brady. We've heard the likes of Ryan Day. Gerard Mayo. Obviously, our very own Deuce Staley. I don't think it's going to be Deuce. And one of the other YouTube guys that I follow, Lord Brunson, he was talking about this early this morning, and he's got a great channel about the birds that you guys can go ahead and follow. Go ahead and go to his channel, and go ahead and like and subscribe to his channel, because he's got great material on there, got great views, got great opinions on everything birds and everything that's kind of going on with the Philadelphia Eagles. But he kind of brought this up today is it seems like it's going to be Deuce. My immediate response to him earlier this morning was, I don't think it's going to be Deuce for this exact reason. I think that Jeffrey Lurie at this point is too impatient to fulfill his dreams of a top 5 offense, to put it in the hands of Deuce Staley. And that's not saying that Deuce Staley can't get the job done. That's not saying that I don't think that Deuce Staley can't get the job done. I wouldn't mind having Deuce Staley at head coach. But I think that Jeffrey Lurie just wants a little bit more proof in the pudding, for his next head coach, and for the next leader of his franchise. So that's where I'm going with that, and that's why I think it's going to be Eric Bieniemy, because we've seen Eric Bieniemy over the last couple of years with Patrick Mahomes and that Chiefs offense, and obviously they were number 1 in the league in multiple categories throughout in offense this season. So so I believe that it's going to be Eric Bieniemy if they are able to pull the trigger on him, and if all sides can come to a mutual agreement on that. So that's where I'm looking at but I do believe that Deuce Staley would be a great choice for offensive coordinator. I think that he deserves the promotion at this point. And as I said in previous streams, I think that the offensive coordinator spot is the most important, is just as important as the head coach, as the head coaching spot. So, as far as Gerard Mayo is concerned, I wouldn't mind seeing him at defense coordinator. And now we got AJ Styles in here, and he looks like he wants he wants Joe Brady. And hey, AJ Styles, my man, I do not have any disagreements on that, my friend. So So, you know, as far as Joe Brady is concerned, I have no disagreements on that. I think that he would be a good choice as well. And I really like what he's done with that Carolina offense over the last few years. And speaking of Joe Brady, as a matter of fact, just because we got this comment highlighted up here on the screen, just look at what he's done with the Carolina run game as well. And Christian McCaffrey, and just imagine Miles Sanders doing what Christian McCaffrey can do, because I'm pretty sure that he has all the tools and traits to do exactly that in a similar type of offense. So, but moving on here, I would love to see. Let's go ahead and just jump back to Eric Bieniemy real quick. I would love to see what Eric Bieniemy does bring to this offense, just because he has worked with Patrick Mahomes over the past few seasons. I would love to see him bring some of those concepts, bring some of those concepts to Philadelphia, and see if we can get some of those motion concepts going in the backfield. So let me go ahead and bring up some playoff updates for us real quick. Let's see here. I believe the last time I checked, the Bills were leading the Ravens 3-0. Speaking of playoff updates, the Packers just absolutely demolished the Los Angeles Rams today. And I know that their defensive coordinator was one of those guys that was one of those coaches that we had in our head coaching carousel wheelhouse. And I hope not after today, because Aaron Rodgers just pretty much picked them apart. So, yeah, so Buffalo still leads 3-0 over the Ravens. And yeah, the Packers absolutely demolished the Rams today, 32-18. And didn't look, I mean, I pretty much watched the entire game. It didn't look like there was no stopping Aaron Rodgers today. So he pretty much manhandled Devontae Adams, pretty much manhandled Jalen Ramsey on that first touchdown. Pretty phenomenal, man. If just imagine if we had a Devontae Adams on our team. Oh boy. That's the thing. Everybody wants to talk about getting a Devontae Smith, and I think about it and I question it, and I don't know if it's because I'm jaded because we've missed so many times on wide receivers in the draft, early in the draft, or if I actually think that there's just better route to go. Honestly, if the offensive tackle Sewell is from Oregon is still on the board at 6, then I think that would be the better route to go over Devontae Smith. But there's no telling whether or not Devontae Smith is going to be there at 6 anyway. He could obviously get taken by Miami a couple picks before us. But we got a couple months to go with that. But I do just want to say that Devontae Smith absolutely looked phenomenal in that championship game. My only worry about him is that he is a little undersized for my liking, honestly. But hey, what are you going to do? Either Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith is going to be there at 6, but I'm just not sure. With either one of them. So yeah. So anyway, getting back to Anthony Lynn, defense coordinator for the or 1 second here. Yeah, anyway, getting back to the defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams. Yeah, I hope after today they just cross him off the list, because I don't think that's a good route to go. Anytime that you can watch another NFC counterpart destroy the guy's defense that you were thinking of filling for your head coaching vacancy, that's usually grounds for dismissing him from your head coaching candidacy. But I think Bieniemy would be great. One thing about Bieniemy, he's young, so he kind of fills the need for that long-term success that they're talking about, and he can bring over, and I think that he will offer a little bit more innovation than Doug Peterson was bringing over from Kansas City when we hired Doug Peterson to go along with that. And to be completely honest with you, it is going to change, honestly. Depending upon who we do hire at head coach, it will change the outlook for the draft. It really will. I mean, if we go with a defensive minded head coach, it could honestly change the outlook in terms of, do we go with a linebacker, Micah Parsons at 6, or cornerback Patrick Surtain at 6? Or if we go with an offensive-minded head coach, is it Devontae Smith, or is it going to be an offensive tackle, or is it going to be, whoever? It's going to be a really interesting few months. And the thing is I was talking about this with a close buddy earlier today, who still believes that we're going to be trading Carson Wentz, and I don't believe that is the case. I believe that they've made all the moves that they've made in order to try and help and fix Carson Wentz. But honestly, I think that right now they are in a spot of they are leaving the door open for both quarterbacks. But if the reports are true, the report that came out, and that was Troy Aikman who said that it was Doug Peterson who wanted Jalen Hurts. If that's true, then I don't see how flipping Jalen Hurts for picks would be out of the question. If that's the case, I don't see how that could possibly be out of the question, because if we go back to that post-draft interview with Howie Roseman, one of the things that he did say, along with us being a quarterback factory, one of the things that he did say, and I think this gets overlooked, but people need to remember this, is that he did mention something along the lines of possibly us, maybe flipping these quarterbacks for picks a couple years down the line, or a year down the line. So it didn't go unnoticed, or didn't go unsaid. Those things did come out of his mouth, and so those things are worth noting. But with that said, I believe that Carson Wentz is the guy that Jeffrey Lurie wants to keep around. Carson Wentz is the guy that Howie Roseman wants to keep around. Whether or not it was Doug Peterson who wanted Jalen Hurts instead of Carson Wentz, that is yet to be seen, I guess. I'm not sure how much I really believe that. It sounds like it's Howie Roseman, trying to pin the tail on the donkey and trying to point blame, because that's what Howie Roseman is best at. But here's the thing with this, and I also brought this up earlier as well. All these reports about them trying to find a guy for the future, for long-term success instead of success right now. It's them trying to buy themselves themselves another year, because here's the thing, they need to get it corrected this year. And I think what they're trying to do by preaching all of that long-term success business, they're trying to protect themselves just in the case that they have another year like the year that we just had, because that could very well happen. And that leads me to talking about Ohio State head coach Ryan Day, and why he might not be the best option for right now. Because while a lot of people have said that he is a great young mind, great bright mind, very smart when it comes to coaching, he is more likely out of the other coaching candidates to have that first year where there are a lot of bumps in the road. And so that's the thing, is if us as Eagles fans, if we experience another 4-12 or 4-11-1 for Christ's sakes, if we have another tie, for Christ's sake, I would probably lose my marbles. That's not likely to happen. But my point being, if we have another losing season under 500, it really shifts the focus on Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman, because if Jeffrey Lurie is stuck in another spot of having to protect Howie Roseman, then where does he go from there? Where do either of them go from there? How does Howie Roseman protect himself again? Because let's be honest, at this point, he's not going anywhere. That goes without saying. And where does Jeffrey Lurie go? How does he handle the wrath of Philadelphia Eagles fans? There's nothing that we can really do about that. We can't overthrow Jeffrey Lurie, but we can try, but probably won't. But yeah, no, they need to make sure that they make the right decision. And that's why I think AJ Styles is right about Joe Brady. And I also think either Joe Brady or Eric Bieniemy would be a great selection for the next head coaching candidate for the Philadelphia Eagles. But again, as I said in previous streams, and as I've said in this stream as well, that offensive coordinator position is just going to be as important as the head coaching position, because they need to communicate well, they need to mesh well, they need to bring innovative ideas that each of them don't bring to the table, so that they can bring contrasting ideas, so that they can work together and build some, and similar to what we had with Doug Peterson and Frank Reich. If there's one thing that you could say about Doug Peterson, what we liked about him in 2017 is when we went for it on fourth down, we were successful. The thing about Frank Reich in 2017 is he brought the innovation, he brought the innovative passing concepts, and all that jazz, and it worked. Every single one of them worked. And so what it led to was it led to us having the highest third down percentage conversion rate in the league. And it took us to the Super Bowl and got us our first championship. So we need something. We need a relationship similar to that, and that's why I mentioned Jim Caldwell. Honestly, I don't know how Deuce would do as an offensive coordinator, but I believe that the players believe in him, and I believe that the players trust in him, and I believe that the players want him to be promoted. So I think that he will be a voice that they will listen to. So that's why I think that Deuce would be a great candidate moving forward. But with that said, there's others as well. There's definitely others as well. So, but this is DB Talking now, DB Talking Birds, DB Talking Philadelphia Eagles. I will be with you throughout the rest of the evening and tomorrow as well, because I will be chiming in with some updates on the playoff scores and things like that, and as well as, obviously, as we all know, these rumors are coming in hot and heavy as far as the head coaching search is concerned, and there's just tons of reports coming out of Philadelphia about the Philadelphia Eagles that are being leaked, that are that are even outside of the coaching search. So there's going to be plenty to talk about moving forward. But this is DB Talking Now, DB Talking Birds, DB Talking Philadelphia Eagles. Have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Saturday evening. Guys, stay safe, stay healthy. Go Birds, baby.